Welcome to the Real Estate Investors Podcast. We interview awesome people from around the industry, helping to give you the resources you need to level up your business. Here's your host, Tyler Woodall.
All right, everybody. I am here with Shane. He is a rock star. Has absolutely hit it out of the park the past couple of years and has an awesome story that I think a lot of people are going to get some value from. So without any further ado, Shane, you want to tell us a little bit about you and your story?
Yeah, sure. Why not? First off, thanks for taking the time and scheduling this time to do this. I appreciate this a lot. And I'm grateful for the opportunity. So let's see. I'm Shane Ninan. I'm born and raised here in upstate South Carolina. Wife and I found ourselves stumbling and fumbling through real estate about 4 years ago, toward the end of 2017 into mid-2018. And we really didn't have much direction early on. We found this vehicle or this tool called wholesaling. We found this in 2018, and we knew that we wanted rental properties. That was kind of our goal. And wholesaling was that tool or vehicle that allowed us to get here or expedite the process.
Right.
And so, yeah, we've been actively investing in real estate, initially by wholesaling. And early in the game, when you say I'm a real estate investor, you're investing time, energy, resources to find deals. Basically, you're just a very expensive bird dog at that point.
Right.
And then that allows you to do a couple of different things. It allows you to network within the real estate community, find out who the players are, find out what are some of the smartest and most efficient ways to invest in your niche or your strategy.
Right.
And it allows you to cherry pick the deals that you want to keep. If you're in a fix and flip game and you want to cherry pick your fix and flips, marketing and advertising and doing the mechanics that come with wholesaling allow you to be able to cherry pick the ones you want to flip.
Right. So would you recommend that to new people looking to get into the business? Like, do you think wholesaling is the spot to start, or would you have done anything differently?
It kind of depends on your situation and depends on what the end goal is.
Okay.
And I'll say this. So say, for example, you love your job. Say you're an accountant and you absolutely love your job. And you know that you do want to get into real estate investing. Wholesaling in and of itself is very labor intensive, meaning that if you have a full-time job that you love, you may not have the extra time or energy to put toward wholesaling.
Right.
If you have a W-2 that you absolutely love, but you do want to get into real estate, it might be better to just become involved in the real estate community, and then find wholesalers that you're willing to work with and or partner with to find off-market deals.
Right.
If not, then you'll be working with realtors, finding on-market deals, competing with everybody else that's on the market looking, paying retail prices. Like I said, it just goes back to what you want as far as your end goal and where you're at and what you want to do.
Right. So, how much of your time is split between wholesaling now and kind of fix and flips that you're doing personally?
So the fix and flips are very, very minor on our scale, meaning that we might do 4 a year. Last year, I think we did 4. This year, our goal was 6 to 8 this year. And luckily, I'm fortunate enough that my wife wants to take on like the leadership role in that arena.
Right.
So that's good. I'm 95 to 98% of my time is actively doing the wholesale business, right? Whether that means putting together new lists, which I've been doing all morning. Usually the first week of the month, I'm putting together new lists. Whether that means going on appointments, meeting with sellers. I do have a acquisition/assistant in-house, and he and I look at deals together. We analyze deals together. He's on the phones. We're actually both on the phones, building rapport with sellers. 98% of my time is doing the real estate, doing the wholesale mechanics.
Right.
And only maybe 2 or 3% is for the fix and flips. And a lot of that 2 or 3% is made up of raising private capital, going to Lowe's and Home Depot, building those relationships with their pro services, and occasionally meeting with a contractor to go over a scope of work on a project and go over a budget.
Right. So at least my understanding, you were pretty well self-taught through YouTube University on how to do a lot of this stuff. I mean, how did you get into this?
So in 2017, my wife and I went to first off, I was working a really good W-2, financially strong W-2, schedule was good, W-2, insurance and benefits. We can argue or debate how good those were or weren't. But I was approaching 40, and my wife and I had talked about rentals since we got married 11 years ago. And we were getting, we weren't getting any younger, and we hadn't bought any rentals.
Right.
And so I was like, we got to do something. We have to be intentional. We have to draw a line in the sand. We have to start taking some kind of action.
Mm-hmm. And
so I went online and I found several, online sources. There was our local RIA, which is, I highly encourage everybody to get involved with the RIA, Real Estate Investing Association locally. We stumbled onto a meetup that was on meetup.com. Which is still around. It's just, I don't know how viable it is, but it's still around.
Right.
And we went, and there were 12 people at a Panera Bread who were sitting around a table, and my wife and I showed up, and we said, hey, we're the new folks. We're just here to listen, ask some questions, and maybe find out some direction. And they asked us, well, what do you want to do? Well, we want rental properties. And they said, well, how do you plan on getting those rental properties? We don't know. We know what 80 or 90% of the population knows. You get a realtor, you go to the bank, you get a pre-approval letter, and you buy something off the market. At this meetup, we were exposed and introduced to the concept of wholesaling. And yes, to your point, I got like a 90-second elevator pitch snapshot of what that looked like.
Right.
Go directly to the seller, you negotiate a price, you put a contract, XYZ. And from that meetup, that's what prompted me I went online and bought a couple of books off Amazon. One is a book called If You Can't Wholesale After This, I've Got Nothing For You. That's by Todd Fleming. I thought I had it laid on my desk. It's a really good book. There was one that I bought, was like the Wholesaling Bible. And they're all, wholesaling in and of itself is very simple. The mechanics are very simple. It's the hustle and the grind and the persistence that is what's challenging for a lot of folks.
Yep.
So yeah, self-taught as far as, being resourceful, listening to podcasts, reading books. All the information is on YouTube, and it's free. Sure, you can invest in courses, you can invest in mentorships, and those are great. They all have a time and a place and a purpose. But for the most part, you could do 3 months or 2 months worth of YouTube University and free information that you found yourself, and go out and start doing deals.
Right.
And that was the long answer to your question. So yes, I mean, for the most part, the wholesaling tool and vehicle that I mentioned in the beginning was something that was introduced to me. And then I went out and found out how to put all the pieces together and make it work.
Yeah. Love that. So I've got one gentleman that I work with that he started wholesaling for the first time, got his first deal this morning. He's been doing it 9 weeks so far is how long he's been marketing.
Wow.
How long do you think it takes people on average? Because I told him I thought that was pretty quick.
So 9 weeks is pretty quick. And now that I've been in this circle, in this arena, I've seen people that have been 18 months or 2 years and haven't gotten a deal. And then a real good buddy of mine, Renee Lopez, is probably the prodigy that I personally know. From the moment that he was introduced to the concept of wholesaling to his actual first check was like 30 days. Yeah.
That's crazy.
30 to 45 days later, he had a check for $10,000. And this was in 2018. And Renee's a smart guy. I don't know if you've ever met him or not. So I was learning about wholesaling. I had my first 2 deals under contract, hadn't closed yet. And our families are friends. We were over at their house swimming. It was the middle of summertime. I told him, I said, hey, this is what I've done. This is what I've learned. Here's how I think it works. And so that night when I left, he went on YouTube and he watched like 6 hours of wholesaling videos.
Jeez.
From there, he did something very creative that not many people do, or at least they didn't do back then, and I doubt they still do. He went on to Craigslist and put a bunch of virtual bandit signs on Craigslist. And within 2 weeks, he had a property under contract. It was a firehouse down in Woodruff, South Carolina. I don't know what he ended up putting it under contract for, but he ended up assigning it very quickly. Within a matter of 3 or 4 days, he had it assigned to a buyer for $10,000 spread. So
that's wild.
Yeah, anywhere from 30 days to 6 months, probably. If you're actively taking action, and a lot of people in this space will say, just make sure you're taking massive, imperfect action, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be polished. It doesn't have to be organized. It doesn't have to be systematic. But pick one thing or two things and just do it. Do it consistently. If putting out bandit signs is your thing, then commit to it. Do it for 3 months. Do it for 6 months. Commit to it. If handwriting, 10 letters a day is going to be your thing, then handwrite 10 letters a day for 3 months or 6 months, and just be consistent and take massive and perfect action.
Yep. I've got a sticky note that I keep on my desk that says done is better than perfect. And it's
That's right. Yeah.
that same type of deal, because a lot of times we use perfectionism as our excuse not to do something, when if you'd have half done it, you'd be way closer to your goal. And that is not an excuse to go not do things with excellence, but
Sure.
do something.
What does it say? Done is better than perfect?
Yep. Done and then greater than perfect.
Okay. All right. All right. I have to write that down. That's a good one.
I love that. So what are some things, if you could go back to 2017, 2018, what do you wish you'd have known that you know now? Start now.
Probably just that one concept. Just take massive and perfect action, right? So many of us get caught up in wanting to do it perfect, or try to get the postcard just right, or get the letter that you're going to send just right. Just do it. Just find a template that's online that somebody else has already used, and just use it. You'll find out within 2 or 3 months if you're not getting any response. If it's not working, then you can go back and tweak it. Go on as many appointments as you can. Don't be scared to go on the appointment, because you don't know how much a roof costs, or you don't know how much a bathroom costs. Just go on the appointment, go through the motions. Fumble through 2 or 3 of them if that's what it takes. I was telling a gentleman the other day, when you go on these appointments, they're not going to know that you're a complete green rookie unless you tell them.
Right.
You've reached out to them. They've reached out to you some shape, form, or fashion. You're in front of them looking at a house. They're already looking at you as if you're some type of authority. And if you get there and blunder the whole thing, then so what? What? A lesson learned. You've got some practice in.
Yeah.
So that's something that I wish I would have known. Just don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to get it wrong. And just take action and be consistent.
That's cool. That's awesome. So big focus still wholesaling. Is there anything that the community could possibly help you with? Are you looking to go more? I know you guys have some kind of holds that you've got for long-term rentals. Is that more single family or multifamily, or where do you see yourself going in the next couple of years, as much as you can say on here?
Yeah, I can say, so when I started this thing, we'll call it 4 years ago, our goal was rental properties. And we're up to 9 rental properties right now, along with our multi-storage or our mini storage. We have 47 units of mini storage, which we love that. Aggressively, I'd like to say we're going to buy 3 to 5 rentals every year, for the next foreseeable future, for the next 3 to 5 years. I had a goal back in 2020 for a multifamily. I wanted to buy some type of multifamily property.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't care what that meant. I didn't care if that was a duplex, a quadplex, a 12-unit apartment. That goal is kind of, we had COVID, we had the pandemic, things got on hold. I ended up buying my storage unit during that time, so that kind of satisfied my multifamily itch. But 2022 would be a great year to buy a couple of duplexes. that is multifamily still on our radar. I'm beginning to learn more about. I'm going to use the verbiage crowdfunding, but that's not what it is. It's where the bigger word, the more correct word is syndications, where you just basically you put your money in with other groups of people, and you buy big multifamily projects. I'm in a couple of different groups, and I'm tied to a couple of different networks of guys who do that. And I've had 2 opportunities that kind of came and went so far this year where I could have partnered with 3 or 4 other guys on larger multifamily projects. And just, if it doesn't sit right or doesn't feel right with me, like internally, like if I don't have a good gut feeling about it, then I'll shy away from it. Over the next 3 to 5 years, yes, we want to keep buying more rentals. We do want to acquire a couple of multifamily properties. And in the spring, maybe even the summer, we're going to try our hand at our first 2 new spec builds. I do have some lots in and around the upstate in Seneca that we're going to go vertical on those. And so, yeah, I'm excited about that. See what I don't necessarily care to be like a big time developer,
right?
But in addition to building, in addition to doing 4 or 6 flips a year, if we can add 2 to 4 new builds a year.
Yep.
I'm not super. I'm not a greedy guy. I'm not super hungry to make millions and millions and millions of dollars. I think you and I had a conversation before. If a guy can make $200,000 or $300,000 a year, in little old South Carolina, we're doing great. So I'm having fun right now, and as long as it's fun, I'm just going to keep doing it. All right.
That's awesome. That's one of the coolest things about you. You are so humble, so open to share, and it is very much on your sleeves. People share their emotions. You share on your sleeves that, man, I am happy. I'm getting to spend time with my family. It is a family business that we're doing.
Yeah.
And so I think that's super admirable, because especially in kind of the hustle and grind world that we live in, you're keeping the main thing, the main thing. I like that.
Yeah, that's absolutely. So it's funny you even mentioned that. So all 3 of my kids, I've got a 9-year-old, and my twins just turned 7 over the weekend.
That's awesome.
All 3 of them are involved in, like, the boys are in baseball right now. The girl is in ballet and t-ball, and literally 4 nights a week we're running. Wednesday nights are our only night off, and that's youth night at church. So technically it's not a night off. So yeah, I'm here at the office, or I'm in the field Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. I try to take my kids with me when I can, if they want to go. It's getting to the point now where they don't want to go. They dread going because it's boring for them.
Right.
In the beginning, they loved it, so I would take them on appointments, and they would go with my wife and I if we were flipping a house. We would go paint, and the kids would go. And they're getting older now, and it's not as fun for them.
I get it.
But anyway, so yeah, we're trying to keep the family involved.
That's awesome. That's cool, man. Well, is there anything? There's this book called, I think it's Blue Ocean Strategy, that talks about there's red oceans and blue oceans. Blue oceans, there's opportunity. Red, there's lots of blood in the water. Everybody's fighting over that ocean. Sure. What do you think a blue ocean is for investors? Like, everybody and their brother talks about multifamily, it feels like, and it's super competitive. So that may be a red ocean. Where do you think people aren't looking that maybe people should?
That's a great question, man. That's a great question. And I may be too much of a rookie to answer that question. I definitely think like mini storage and self-storage, just based on my brief little experience. Like, I don't think a lot of people aren't looking at that,
right?
Because it's not cool and it's not fun.
Yeah.
But if you look at the numbers, and the return, the ROI, it could be really fun.
Yeah.
It's not glamorous, right, to brag about on the mini storage. That could be a blue ocean. Definitely like developing those kind of things. Because there's not a lot of people developing them. I mean, it takes us as a very unique individual to think that way. Like, there needs to be, 50 more storage units over here. So, just off the cuff, that's what I'm going to say. That the mini storage, maybe even, I was going to say laundromats and car washes, but I think somebody's caught the bug with the car washes, because I don't know about other parts of the country, but here in the Southeast, these nice high-end car washes are popping up all over the place. So there's got to be some formula there that makes a lot of sense.
Right. Yeah, I've seen that. There's a lady that I follow pretty seriously online, Cody Sanchez, and she talks about she calls them boring businesses. And she's like, I want car washes, ice vending machines, just all kinds of stuff like that. She's like, as boring as it can be, she said, because there's going to be little competition. It's very easy to scale it, little time. And she's like, mailbox money.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
cool. Mini storage, car washes, laundromats, even those little, I had breakfast with a group of guys a few mornings ago, and they were bragging. One of the guys was bragging about his, I don't know what you call them. They're mobile storage units that people buy and put at their houses, right?
Yeah, there's pods. I've seen those.
Well, not even the pods. It's like the precursor to the pod. It's you can buy them at Lowe's. They're like the 10 by 12 buildings.
Okay, yeah.
What do you call those things? Little mini barns or something like that,
little
right?
Sheds.
Yeah, like she sheds. So this guy has a direct connection on Amish built she sheds, right? And he says that is the guy's got like 8 businesses or 9 businesses. That is his most profitable business, right? A, because you start off and the margins are high, right? And then B, not only are the margins high initially, but then you have the whole buy here, pay here repo model working for you in the background. So the average Joe buys a building, we'll call it $10,000, right? He puts $2,500 down. He rents it for 6 months. He makes 6 months worth of payments. Then he stops. You go repo it, bring it back to your lot, sell it again. You know, somebody else buys it for $8,500. Now they put $2,500 down.
Right.
They make so. I think that could be a blue ocean, right? Those she sheds.
It's funny.
Who knows?
That's a neat idea. I've not heard that one before.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Well, I don't want to keep too much of your time. I appreciate you hopping on here with me. Is there anything else you want to leave with, or if nothing else, then we'll hop off?
No, once again, just thank you for having me on here. Thank you for us doing this. And if I can help anybody in any way, obviously I can't help everybody, but me and 2 other individuals up here in the upstate are working on some type of plan or program that we can help serve a lot of people. So
that's awesome.
If you want to reach out to me, I know you saw it, but maybe your listeners or audience haven't, but I just launched a new website. It's www.shaneninan.com. So it's a quick and easy way for somebody to get in touch with me if they want to.
It looks really great.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. So yeah, you can go on there and shoot me a message. You got to fill out your name, phone number, email address. And if I can help you in any way or help any of your listeners or audience, I'd be glad to. So just reach out.
Cool, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.